found this little tidbit on Facebook, and I've noticed lots of people sharing it, so perhaps you've already seen it. But in case you haven't, it's on the screen, and I plan on reading it to you. It goes as such. A young couple moves into a new neighborhood. The next morning, while they are eating breakfast, the young woman sees her neighbor hanging the wash outside. That laundry's not very clean. She doesn't know how to wash correctly. Perhaps she needs better laundry soap. Her husband looks on but remains silent. Every time her neighbor hangs her wash to dry, the young woman makes the same comments. A month later, the woman is surprised to see a nice clean wash out on the line and says to her husband, "Look, she's finally learned how to wash correctly. I wonder who taught her this?" Replies the husband, "I got up early this morning and cleaned our windows." And so it is with life. What we see when watching others depends on the clarity of the window through which we look. On its own, this is just a great reminder. It's convicting. It's something that most of us can relate to. But I went on to really kind of let it soak in, and I came up with a blog post. But I've noticed a lot of people from YouTube don't go to my blog, and a lot of my blog readers don't come here. So at the risk of being redundant, I would like to share kind of what I wrote the other day. Starts off asking a question. How would you rate yourself in your neighborly efforts with those that live around you? Now, in this day and age, we live in such a global community. You can really extend the word neighbor to mean almost any of your fellow men or women. But in this context, I really do want to concentrate on your neighbors. How are you as a neighbor to those that live around you? How would you rate yourself, and how would they rate you? On a scale of 1 to 10. Would there be any disparity there? Do you possibly rate yourself a 10, but they rate you a 3? Despite my outgoing and naturally friendly disposition, I must admit that I struggle with the love thy neighbor commands of Scripture. Not intentionally, mind you. There's lots of social conventions involved. Some neighbors really like to keep to themselves. They very rarely come outside, and when they do, you're lucky to even catch their gaze and give them a nod or a wave. Other families maybe have older couples with an empty nest, and I don't relate as well to the stage in life that they're at. Still others just got married, maybe don't even have kids yet. They're just maybe thinking about starting a family. Then I have neighbors that have completely different lifestyles from mine. The conversation and area of common ground makes it difficult. But we can't help as neighbors but be a part of one another's lives. Interaction is going to happen on some level. Even if it's just when you go out to check the mail, you do catch your neighbor's gaze and they're in the yard and you give them a nod or a wave. But like the couple in the story I read at the very beginning, we all retreat back indoors and we have a little chat with our spouses usually about those interactions. We make judgments and conclusions based on very little evidence. Sometimes we conclude positive things about these people, and other times we speculate the worst. So as I read the story that I shared with you at the beginning, I was convicted on several levels. One, I talk with my wife about my neighbors more often than I express a loving attitude toward them. Two, I make conclusions with insignificant amounts of information. Three, these conclusions can often be negative instead of assuming the best of people. Four, these conclusions say more about me and the lens I'm looking through than it does those that I'm analyzing. Five, I need to clean my windows. How about you?